With us right now is Sameer Abhyankar, who is the head of private equity investments and managing director for British International Investments, which has made a $250 million investment commitment in the Mahindra Group. Sameer, thank you for talking to us. Give us a sense of how these investments will flow into the Mahindra Group. What are you looking for in return for Mahindra Group to achieve?
Sure. So maybe let me just start by explain a little bit about who BII is. So BII is the UK government's development finance institution. So as a DFI, we have a dual mandate. One is to generate a financial return, but the other, which is equally important, is to generate impact in the markets in which we operate. Mm-hmm. Now, impact means many different things to different people. For us, one of the most important priorities for us on a go-forward basis, as well as what we've done so far, is around investments related to climate. So a lot of what you'd expect to see from us over the next few years, particularly in India, is going to be related to climate. Then coming to this particular transaction, as you'd have seen, $250 million is a large investment. So we see this partnership with Mahindra Group very much as a partnership. And in the spirit of that partnership, as what you mentioned, where this is a newly established entity, so there are a number of business-related milestones that we expect the business to achieve over the next couple of years, including, as you see, the rollout of some of these vehicles, etc. So there's quite a detailed list around it, but we expect to be investing the $250 million based on hitting some of these milestones.
Right. And what would make you consider the next investment in the Mahindra Group? What after $250 million, and what would you want to see before you make that investment?
Yeah, sure. So, unlike private equity funds, we are a balance sheet investor, and we recognize that for a lot of these investments that we make, they're going to need a long time to actually develop, right? And that's where we see our role and our differentiation. So we invest out of balance sheet in long term. That means that we have to be prepared to invest additional amounts as the business needs it, right? But certainly to date, our 250 alongside their 250 is a corpus of about 500 million. That's enough for what we're aiming to do now. But certainly this business will need more money, and one of the other important mandates for us is to use BII's balance sheet to mobilize incremental amounts of funding from other people. Right? So what we are expecting to do is that while we may consider putting more money in later, what we will certainly be looking to do is working with our friends at M&M to raise additional funding into this platform.
Okay. Also, going forward, would you be considering investments in other EV players in India, other car manufacturers?
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe two-wheelers?
So, when you think about EV, this is a pretty nascent sector. For EVs to work anywhere in the world, it needs multiple different actors to develop, right?
Right.
So this is our investment in the OEM space. But at the same time, for this to actually really take off, you're going to need the auto components guys to have moved into EV. You're going to need the charging infrastructure to have developed. You're going to need the recycling infrastructure to have developed. So certainly we as an investor who is interested in catalyzing markets, we'll be looking selectively at other spaces as well.
Oh, so you continue to look at other players in India who are transitioning to electric mobility in the component and ecosystem space?
Correct. Components ecosystem, charging kit, battery recycling. It's going to take multiple actors to all be working together, but you certainly need the weight of the OEMs to pull all the other constituents along.
Cell manufacturing?
We could look at those as well. At the moment, as you know, in India, there's not much going on, but as and when that does happen, we'll certainly take a look at that as well, yeah.
All right. What about semiconductors? Is that something that you're optimistic about? India does not have any ecosystem yet.
Yeah, so, we as an investor, this particular transaction is a great example of where we come in and partner with strategic operators. So to the extent that there are strategic operators who are looking to develop a semiconductor industry, that's certainly something that we'd look at and consider. To date, we haven't come across any, but let's see.
My final question, what are the other areas that are interesting for the British International Investment Group?
Sure. So we're very active across a number of sectors. I think renewables is an area which we've been very active in India. We've helped launch this platform called Ayana. It continues to be a space that we're going to continue looking at. Financial services is another very important area for us. We've biased our financial services investments towards microfinance and small business lending, both of which we think that the market still has a lot more need. So we continue to look at things around microfinance, housing finance, etc. Then moving into services, health, education, pharmaceuticals, food and agriculture, all again very, very important and very important areas for us from an impact lens, as well as we think that there are interesting commercial returns to be made there.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, sir.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you so much. The Mahindra Group has secured an investment of $250 million from British International Investments. They will also be investing $250 million themselves in their EV strategy for the next few years. But at the same time, they will be on the lookout for future investors as well. That's all we have time for on this special broadcast. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.